Welcome to the Weekly Beat, just like that. It is Thursday, February 15th. The beat goes on, and we have a lot to get to today.
Today is the last day without baseball for a very long time.
There's the big smile.
Oh,
There's the big smile.
Tomorrow is my favorite day of the year, without question.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Better than your birthday.
Yes.
Better than when Coach O got the head coaching job. The point is that we've got a long preview ahead of the LSU baseball season on this episode of the Weekly Beat. We're very excited about it. Feel free to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at the Weekly Beat BR. Subscribe to my page on YouTube. All that stuff's posted there.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. A little plug for my YouTube page. But let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
You know, we've got Notre Dame starting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball at the Box starts tomorrow. Super, super amped about that. We have a 3-game series with Notre Dame this weekend in Baton Rouge. And then there's no slowing down after that.
Nope. They really, LSU tends to have some iffy scheduling sometimes in baseball. This year is not one of those years.
Not the case.
I really enjoy the schedule. We're going to get deeper into the schedule. I know you had some key dates. Obviously Notre Dame.
Right, Notre Dame for sure.
Weekend.
I think it's very interesting because, when you think about football and you think about the scheduling, you think about those cupcake games. When it's not in the SEC or our in-conference play, you think of the cupcakes. And baseball is not super different. A lot of times, there's a lot of baseball games, the midweek games. And it feels like, as a fan, that sometimes there's throwaway games. At least they don't feel as important. That was a big part of the conversation last year was how important the midweek games were.
They don't matter.
We lost a lot of midweek
matter.
games. But we have a very interesting non-conference schedule this season, and it starts with Notre Dame this weekend, followed by Texas coming to the Box, which I think is very interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you're very excited about that. That is going to be just fun to watch.
That will be awesome.
I am a little bit interested in our first midweek game, and it's against UNO. And the reason why is because UNO had our number last season, if you remember correctly. And I'm just very curious if that streak will continue for them.
You know what? If it does, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
This is going to be a conversation we will have off and on all season.
I would love to see them beat UNO, but then again, we'll see what happens.
You don't care either.
No, it just doesn't matter. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's always fun when Blake Dean. I'm happy that he's having the success that he's having. Same thing with Will Davis and Lamar. Happy he's having the success that he's having. I think it'll be a good game. You'll see Cam Sanders get the start for LSU,
which I think is
they're very high on him.
Yeah.
Very, very high on him. Drew has drawn comparisons to Aaron Nola. So that's what I'm most interested in that game. But it'll be fun. And if not, we'll see him later in the year again. So.
That's right. Our last non-conference opponent before SEC play starts is what's going to end up being quite possibly a very rare ranked matchup for a midweek game. We'll have the University of South Alabama coming to town.
Yep. Currently,
they're ranked 20. They have the greatest named baseball player in the country, and that's Travis Swaggerly.
I remember him from last year.
Yeah, he was a star last season, and there is no signs of that not being the case this year as well. So a final weekday test for the Tigers before they start SEC play with Missouri.
And that's going to be a great game. See, that's what I'm excited about for a number of different reasons. If you remember, that's the game that got everybody so riled up last year, really. It was at the end of the year when they lost to South Alabama in the midweek.
Yeah.
But what people don't get about South Alabama, that's a very good program. Let me tell you something here. In 1997, LSU won the College World Series. That's good. They almost didn't get there.
Right. Oh, no.
They had to come back in one day in the regional and beat South Alabama twice. That's a good program. They still attract good players.
And I think that South Alabama will serve as a good measuring stick for the last test before SEC play.
That's something I think this entire non-conference slate will do. Serve as a good test.
I completely agree. Once SEC play starts, we start with Missouri, and then we get Vanderbilt immediately the weekend after that. The end of March, we'll host Mississippi State, which was big last year and will be big again this year, I'm certain.
Watch out for Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Could be the team
towards the end of April, we'll go to Ole Miss before hosting Arkansas, and those are a couple of just back-to-back series that could be very, very important for the Tigers there near the end of the season.
Meet right here.
You're calling your shot, right?
Day before season starts, the biggest series of the year for LSU, as it stands right now, without having played any games, will be May 4th through the 6th when Arkansas comes to the box.
I 100% agree.
Because they are the team on paper who can challenge Florida for the conference championship on paper. Now, games aren't played on paper. You play them.
As we've seen time.
Florida was supposed to win the conference last year, and they did, but, they had company with LSU.
Right.
And you saw why at the end of the season. So, Arkansas and LSU, May 4th through the 6th is going to be.
I agree. So a very good schedule for the Tigers, a very interesting schedule. Going to be a busy season for the Tigers. Not a whole lot of time to breathe there. But as we go into this weekend with Notre Dame, you know as well as I do, coming this week, that the lineup looks a little bit different than we thought it might have.
And it looks even more different now.
Right. What type of lineup will we see take the field, not only this weekend against Notre Dame, but throughout the season?
Okay. Well, media day, Paul Mainieri gave, they asked him his lineup as it stood then, and he gave them, he was going to have Smith lead off at short, Watson second and center, Duplantis third in right field, where he started his career at LSU. You were going to have Hunter Fiducia, junior college transfer, come in and play catcher.
It's a great last name.
It is a good last name. Hitting cleanup for you. And then you had he didn't have it set yet. It was either going to be Jake Slaughter at third or Bryce Jordan at first.
Right.
And whichever one didn't hit fifth was going to hit seventh. And then sixth was going to be Daniel Cabrera left field. Mm-hmm. Eighth was Bo Jordan DH.
Right.
And then ninth you had Brant Broussard at second base. Now that's changed a little bit because a couple weeks ago Hunter Fiducia was catching in a scrimmage and the bat hit him in an uncovered part of his left hand and broke one of his fingers. So they were bringing him along slowly. He's not going to be able to play this weekend. So that brings us to the change there. It's maybe not who you think it's going to be.
Right.
And you know why? Because of also injury. Bryce Jordan is going to move from first base to catch opening night, at least opening night.
Hasn't started at catcher since high school. But he has had some time.
He has, and Mainieri was very impressed with him. He was originally going to go with Nick Coons, but Coons is still recovering from a little bit of a nagging hip that he had repaired. He could be back in the lineup on Saturday.
So if Bryce is replacing Fiducia behind the plate, who's going to first?
Here's the thing. So Mainieri also said that don't be surprised if Bryce Jordan moves from catcher to the bench. He might not just go back in because Nick Webb. Nick Webb is a true freshman. Was Mr. Baseball in Louisiana in 2016. He's very, very good. He's been hitting the cover off of the baseball in the spring so far, hitting .344 with 11 hits, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. Those all lead the team in the spring. He's a true freshman. He'll get the start. He said, he might end up being there. And another funny thing is Austin Bain might see time on the infield at second base.
Yeah, at second base. I think that is very interesting. And I love that Mainieri, and he's always been this way. He is definitely not. He has definitely never been a where you're at, where you're at. And he has been one that is willing to kind of mesh, kind of mold with that clay and see where they can fit other pieces. And it's really interesting to see where he kind of puts his chess pieces at.
What you're going to see this week, everybody's asking, oh, man, how's the team going to look? What are we going to see?
Right.
It's what you're going to see this weekend is classic Mainieri tinkering that he does every year, and it always seems to work out for him. That's what you're going to see. This time it's more out of necessity because of injuries so far, but that's what you're going to see so far this weekend. And a lot of new faces on the pitching staff, which we'll get to.
Yeah, we will definitely get, because there's a lot to talk about pitching-wise. A ton to talk about. But we've seen, when you think of the injuries that LSU has to start with before the season even begins, the fact that it's already taking some of this tinkering in the lineup will mean that the team that we see take the field on Friday could be very different than the team that we see take the field May 4th through 6th against Arkansas.
It could be, and I think it will be. I don't know. I mean, if I had to make a guess right now, when May 4th through the 6th comes around, I think Nick Webb will be in the lineup full time.
I have a feeling
I think Bryce Jordan will be in the lineup full time as well. I think he'll end up being maybe your designated hitter. They'll swap time at DH and first base possibly. I think both of them will still be there, but I think Fiducia will end up being your catcher that's why you brought him here.
Right. So an interesting lineup Friday night with the Fighting Irish coming into the box. And I want to hit heavily onto the pitching staff and to the changes, both offensively and defensively for the Tigers. But first, I think we should just take a breather. Okay. Or I'll take a breather while you get pissed off and you do your doofus of the week.
The doofus? All right. Yeah. Well, we're not going to move. We're going to move off of baseball real quick because the NBA decided they were just going to upstage the sports world in doofusry. It's not even a word.
Is that trademarked?
It's not. It should be.
I'll look into it.
We have our first ever co-doofus of the week.
Wow. This is the first.
This is the first.
Didn't take long, but here we go.
Last night, when the Pelicans played the Lakers, Rajon
Yeah.
Rondo and Isaiah Thomas both got ejected for fighting each other. Now, what this stems from has absolutely nothing to do with the Lakers and the Pelicans. Isaiah Thomas, he played for the Celtics for about 2 years.
Right.
2 seasons, I think. Rajon Rondo was there for 8.5 and won a title with Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce's number was going to be retired. It is retired now, February 11th. It was a great ceremony. They did it against the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas was playing for the Cavaliers. The original plan was to have a video tribute to Isaiah Thomas for his time as a Celtic.
Right.
That rubbed Rajon Rondo the wrong way. First of all, you're a grown-up. Get over it. Quit being petty. He said, what has he done? Do we hang banners for conference finals appearances? No. He was upset that he wasn't getting the video. Let's be honest here, Rondo. Your career is not what it was. You play for the New Orleans Pelicans now, okay? Y'all are going to be a whipping boy for somebody in the playoffs if you get there, and you're starting to fight because you thought this guy didn't deserve a video. And mind you, Isaiah Thomas said, please don't play the video because it's going to take away from
Paul Pierce's it wasn't about him. Right. It was not supposed to be.
He did the right thing and said, don't play it. And Rajon Rondo picked the fight with him last night. They both got ejected. Thomas really shouldn't have got ejected. I don't think. He didn't instigate the thing. Rondo did because he's petty and a second-rate point guard in the league now.
You're not holding anything back.
No, I'm not. Because it's not just – it's come on,
well,
dude.
It sounds like Rajon Rondo was your doofus of the week. Doesn't sound as much as IT.
Yeah, he was involved. So by association.
Doofus by association.
Doofus by association.
That's a thing.
I mean, you're going to do this in a game that has literally nothing to do with the Pelicans or the Lakers, who both of you play for. That's why you're going to be a whipping boy for somebody in the playoffs because that's how much you care.
The only thing missing from that is a LeVar Ball Lakers moment.
Yeah.
Wonder what his take was.
I don't like him. Anyway.
I'm surprised. He would be, if this show started a couple months ago, he would have been the Dukes of the Week every single week.
I tend to ignore him and his sons. So that's why they're not
big baller
featured. Yeah. And they're going to have Lonzo's having a kid.
True.
So there you go. Rajon Rondo, grow up.
Dukes of the Week.
Been in the league over 8 years, over 10 years now. You have a ring. No one's saying you're not great. Get over it. Loser.
Doofus. There he is. There's your Doofus of the week. Fun for me, as always. But back into LSU baseball quickly because we have a lot to get to. And I want to start with pitching because when we get to Omaha last season, we've got some great pitchers on the mound. You've got Lang, you've got Poche, you got Eric Walker. And none of those three guys will be starting for the LSU Tigers this season. So that would be a huge question mark. Obviously, Lang and Poche drafted. Walker, the season-ending Tommy John surgery right at the very end of the season last year for the Tigers. He will miss this season entirely. So let's start there. Starting rotation. You don't get anybody back. No. What do you get?
Well, you got Gilbert on Friday night, which I like. I think that's great. I mean, we all knew kind of going into it that he was going to get a starting role. I didn't think it'd be Friday, but he got it for the opening week. I like it. Veteran. Hess, which is going to be the big experiment. Take him out the bullpen where he was just fantastic. By the way, his walk-up song is going to be Wild Thing, which just makes sense. I'm happy about it.
Of course.
And then you have Todd Peterson on Sunday, which I think will be fairly good. I think it will work out well. I liked Todd Peterson a lot last year. I thought he did well. He had a few nagging injuries that Mainieri shed a little bit of light on. And that kind of prevented him. If he would have been healthy enough to go, he would have started game number 1 against Florida and not Russell Wilson. Coach Mary said that. So I think it's good. I think your rotation set now is great, and you'll have Cam Sanders starting in the midweek, which is good. The bullpen, a lot of new faces.
Yes. As far as returning, you have Nick Bush coming back, and I think Nick Bush is going to be the one that we see get the most time, and who could be a very key move a lot of the times, because we have a starting lineup in terms of the starting rotation that's kind of like my right-handers.
Yeah.
So Nick Bush, as a left-hander out of the bullpen, could see some very significant playing time this season.
He could, and I think he'll get a shot at a closer role too. It's going to be him and Mikael Hilliard going to, I think, get first cracks at it with Hess not being in the bullpen anymore. We'll see how long that lasts. I would like him to succeed as a starter. I think his future is in the bullpen in the major leagues. I would like to see him succeed as a starter at LSU because you need that shutdown guy. You need the 1-2.
But you think Hess? I mean, do you see him being a starter the whole season?
No, I think he ends up moving back to the bullpen.
Is that because someone is better and is pushing him out, or because the Tigers need someone better?
I think they know that that's where he's at his best.
Interesting.
And that's where they want him.
I think that is going to be
also know. I mean, Coach Ranieri said it himself. The temptation is always there to move him back to the bullpen, but he's our best arm, and you have to get him innings. He's only going to throw 30, 40 innings at the bullpen. As a starter, he could throw over 100. Right. You need your best arm there. I know, again, now I think he ends up moving back to the bullpen. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he takes the starting thing, and it's great. I hope he does, because like I said, you need the 1-2. But I think you'll see Cam Sanders end up moving to the starting rotation at some point in the season, and Hess back to the bullpen.
Interesting. I think that's very interesting. I think that is something to watch for. I don't think we're set up for failure. I think we have 3 starting pitchers that could be very good this season. Obviously, they don't have the reputation or the experience that last. I mean, and no combination that we were going to put out there this season was going to match anywhere close, at least in terms of reputation, that our starters did last season. But that doesn't mean that they can't be the right 3 guys that set this team up for success.
If this doesn't work with Hess, it will not be because of a lack of effort. I mean, they're working extensively with him on trying to harness his energy and stamina, and
he wants to win. He wants to be good. If you don't believe that after watching the end of last season,
exactly. I mean, it will not be for a lack of effort, but I mean, sometimes it's just you have to develop a routine. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see, and we'll get our first look Saturday with Notre Dame,
and it'll be good.
And you mentioned the bullpen, 10 different freshmen. That's a lot of guys.
That's a lot.
Some lefties, some righties. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that stands out to you as someone that could make a big impact from the 10 freshmen? Anybody that you think he will definitely make an impact?
Mikael Hilliard.
Right.
Apparently, he's just got a devastating breaking ball and a fastball. Mm-hmm. Tops out about 88, but it never stays straight, so it's always moving, kind of like a Chris Cotton type.
So the type of pitches that you want out of a potential closer.
Right. And then Devin Fontenot, who AD and Coach Mary just glow when they talk about this kid.
Yeah.
Strike thrower, high 80s, low 90s. I think those 2 would be the ones to really watch. AJ Labas, when he comes back from injury, quite possibly. I mean, he's got a big body guy.
Right.
Mid-90s, fastball. Guys like that, I think, could really step up and hopefully grab innings. I think those are the 2 to definitely look for, though. Right out of the gate, since they're not healthy, is Fontenot and Hilliard in the bullpen.
Interesting.
And then you got the veteran guys, Beck, who pitched a lot last year, Bain,
right,
Bush, as you said.
Guys that you've heard of, guys that you expect to be able to give you, those middle relief innings if necessary, and then eventually get you to the closer without too much of a mess or a fuss. Very interesting there. How do you feel overall as a pitching staff? Do you expect this team to give up 6 runs a game, 4 runs? Like, where do you think they stand?
No, I don't expect them to give up that. I mean, I think they're going to end up doing what they do. LSU is going to have to hit the ball and win games like that in the early going. You got to ease these guys in. After that, I would imagine LSU's team ERA, it'll be somewhere earned runs they'll give up a game, maybe somewhere as a staff. 3.5 to maybe like 3-8. I would think it'll be somewhere in there at season's end.
Maybe the better question is what's going to win more games for the Tigers, the pitching or the hitting?
Well, I'm going to say the pitching. That's what's going to have to do it.
Right.
What's going to maybe actually do it is offense early, but to win in baseball, you have to have the pitching. If you don't, there's the old saying, you're only as good as your next day's starting pitcher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to have it. Good pitching will beat good hitting.
That is very interesting and always true. I mean, it always is true. And I want to kind of switch to the offense now because we talked about the pitching, and we know there's a question mark there, but not enough to make us doubt.
No.
Really. I think there is still confidence there from the mound for the Tigers. Offensively, we lose several key pieces of the lineup. When I list these 4 names, you're going to think, who else played,
right.
offensively for the Tigers? Kramer Robertson. You know who his mom was?
Yeah, it's Kim Mulkey. She's the
Did you know
Baylor,
that?
Yeah.
Kim Mulkey, the Baylor women's head coach, Kramer Robinson's mom.
There's a picture of him cutting down the nets with her. Did you ever seen that picture?
I have never seen that before. Wow. Kramer Robertson, Greg Dykman, Cole Drank Freeman, and Pat Perpishki. All 4 gone. Those were the leaders of the team last season. You lose Lang, you lose Poche, and then offensively you lose those 4. But
3 of them had double-digit home runs too.
Oh yeah, offensive output huge from those 4 guys. Those are the ones that you expected to come through for you in the key moments, and they are replaced by some guys that I think I have a lot of confidence in. Returning. I like Smith. Josh Smith, I like Jake Slaughter.
Yep.
Watson had a breakout season as a freshman, no doubt about that. Do you think he keeps up the pace this year?
Yeah, Zach Watson. This will be his. Zach Watson's a draft eligible sophomore.
Yes.
So I
fully
anticipate this to be his last season in Baton Rouge, probably.
So
same for Zach S.
Right. So with that in mind, Zach Watson, I don't think there will be a such thing as the sophomore slump.
I don't think so either. I think this kid could play center field in the major leagues, which is a hard position to play in the major leagues, but I think he could do it.
He's good, and I expect him to be very, very good for this season, especially in a team that's going to be looking for the leader to stand out early.
Mm-hmm.
You get Coombs coming back, you get Duplantis coming back.
Yep.
Not all losses for the Tigers. You have some guys that were really good as freshmen that are coming in. They can be your veterans this season. But who stands out to you offensively for the Tigers?
Out of what?
Out of the 5 that are returning.
Okay.
That were in your starting lineup.
You would say common sense would say Watson,
right?
But to be different, I'll go Josh Smith. Smith is going to be a huge part of your team for numbers of reasons. His defense. He's your next in line at shortstop. If Kramer Robertson is not on your team last year, Josh Smith probably comes in and starts at shortstop from day one. He's very good. He's good enough to do it. He did a great job at third base. He also hits the ball well. He's got some sneaky power in there. Him leading off, I think that's a good spot for him. I really look to him to do big things, be a catalyst at the top of the lineup. He sees a lot of pitches, which is what you want out of your leadoff. And like I said, he puts the bat on the ball. So, and it's 2 separate parts of the game from him. His defense and his offense, they're separate, so they're never going to interfere. So I look for him to really be a catalyst, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but as a team guy, totally.
I could absolutely see him very, very easily getting into that Kramer Robertson role.
I could too.
I think he's a good fit for it. The shortstop position at LSU has always been, coveted and been one that a leader on the team mostly has. And I absolutely see Josh Smith taking that role, no doubt. I think that'll be good for this team this season.
I do too.
Beyond that, who outside of these 5? We've seen what these guys can do, and I know you're answering this question, but I want you to explain why.
Daniel Cabrera,
why
is just a stud. This kid, there's talk of him being National Freshman of the Year. He's that good. He's the next guy who is like a Bregman or a Gaussman who just comes in immediately and starts. They go. And he's going to. He hits well. He's a sweet left-handed swing. He's got just a baseball body. He's going to be awesome. I can't wait. And you know what else? He can also pitch, and he will pitch early in the season and possibly throughout, which would help his case for National Freshman of the Year.
Right.
But
get you a player that can
do both. This kid is going to do very, very big things at LSU. He went to possibly the most two hated high schools in the state of Louisiana, John Curtis and Parkview. But
not a lot of fans.
No, and he said he had a number in mind. This is my number. Give me this number. I'm going to go to LSU, and he slips in the draft.
Money.
And now money.
Yeah.
And now he's at LSU, and he's going to do big things, and I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
I can't wait.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there is no lack of talent offensively for the Tigers, and in a year where pitching is questionable, potentially, we have confidence in the pitching staff, but they could be rattled. They don't have a ton of experience, at least in the roles that they are in. But I could see the offense picking up some of the slack.
I could too. Outside of him, though, I would either go with Nick Webb or Hunter Fiducian.
Yeah, both.
See what they can do.
Both guys that I think we'll hear from quite frequently this season. But let's hit our final five. We want to preview the Notre Dame series. We want to kind of get predictions on that. But a couple of things that have happened this week that are worth noting.
Yeah. Last week we told y'all that LSU had hired Doug Nussmeier to be an offensive analyst, for the football team,
right?
Which they did. And then the Dallas Cowboys offered him a job as tight ends coach, and he took that instead, which can't blame him. NFL, full-time position, I'd go too. So Doug Nussmeier will not be on the LSU coaching staff for football, but I do like the idea of hiring analysts. We should keep looking at that.
Not a long stint
no.
there. I don't know how much analyzing he got done.
Probably not a lot.
Probably. You think he solved their quarterback issue in the time he was here?
No.
No? Okay. But
he didn't solve Florida's either, so I don't know if we really want him solving ours.
But you do like the idea of having offense.
I love it.
So you see.
Get all of them. Hire as many as you want.
Anybody
There's no limit, so hire as many as you want.
Good. The second thing that we want to hit before we get back to the LSU baseball game is Tiger Woods back in action, second time this season at the Genesis Open in LA at Riviera. He shoots a 1/72 today, which has him in the top 70. It's not beautiful, but he's only 5 shots back of the leader.
Yeah.
Rory, who he played with, shot a 71, even par. Justin Thomas shot a 2-under 69. So it's not like Tiger's eons away from everyone else. He had a very up and down day. He's not hitting the fairway with the driver. That has been when Tiger struggles. That's why he struggles.
And that was a problem in his last tournament.
Right.
At Torrey, he did not find the fairway for the effort.
So last time when we talked about Torrey, when we talked about the Farmers Open, we said making the cut is successful for Tiger. Is that the same measuring this week? Make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
No extra goal past that.
Make the cut. Keep playing. Just keep playing.
I like it.
All you gotta do.
I like it. I expect him to make the cut. We'll see what happens. But this weekend, baseball at the box.
Here we go.
We talked about it. You know what's going on. We have Caleb Gilbert starting Friday night, Zach Hess starting Saturday, and Todd Peterson starting Sunday. What do you expect to see this weekend as LSU opens?
I think you take it one game at a time and everything, but I think this is a series that LSU will win all three. Notre Dame.
So you expect a sweep?
I expect a sweep. I know it could not happen. I mean, that happens. Notre Dame finished 26-32 last year, 10-20 in the ACC, 250 as a team, an ERA of 4.4. Their starting pitcher, who's going to go Friday night, Scott Tully, is coming back from injury. He only pitched 17 innings last season, but in those 17 innings, he had a 3.7 ERA. He was 2-0. Only walked 10. He only struck out 12, but he also held his opponents. I think they hit like 250 off of him, so that's very good. So LSU should have their hands full there with him. I expect offense to carry the team early. I expect the starting rotation to be better than expected.
Yeah.
Early, we'll see. And it'd just be nice to beat Notre Dame at something. Considering they absolutely shellacked us in basketball, and then New Year's Day didn't go right. So it'd just be nice to beat them at something.
I fully expect LSU to have the lead in all these games until they don't go for it on fourth down. All that to say is that the LSU baseball team, number 16, hosts Notre Dame this weekend. You expect a series sweep. I expect winning the series. I would not be surprised at all with the sweep. I do think that the starting pitching will be very good, and then the confidence will just build for the Tigers.
And it will set up a major matchup the following weekend, which will just be loads of fun. We will have plenty on that.
Yes, we will have plenty on that next week. We'll next week on the Weekly Beat, we'll recap Notre Dame. We'll preview Texas, which is very exciting baseball out the box with Texas and the Longhorns next weekend. But in the meantime, don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, at The Weekly Beat BR, and of course separately. And until then, we'll see you next week when the beat goes on.